After 10 years with my fiancé, I feel like her family's chaos is more important than my dreams. When she brushed off my need to leave early, I lost it, realizing I may be trapped in a life where my wishes don't matter. Is my upcoming promotion worth this turmoil? I would love to hear thoughts on this, and maybe find out if I am overreacting or misreading the situation. Background information: we have been together for 10 years, and there are times when I feel like my fiancé could not care less about my feelings or what I want. We have been through a lot together. I have made my share of awful mistakes and am by no means a perfect partner, for full disclosure. However, we were younger when we met, we both made mistakes, and we both agreed to move on and work on improving ourselves. Here is the situation. I have an opportunity at my job to receive a promotion that would significantly increase our finances and fully relocate us closer to her family. This would be beneficial in the future if we have children and need help with child care, which is something we discussed and agreed upon. We have experienced our issues like any couple, and we have had some very recent conversations about how I feel she does not listen to me or truly support me. We have talked about this issue several times, and she has not made any effort to improve. The most recent conversation about it was more serious, and I expressed that I would absolutely need her support for this promotion and move, especially since I will be paying substantially more for the down payment on a house and close to double what she would pay for the mortgage. I communicated to her that if she worked on listening to me about the other points we discussed and made a sincere effort, I would accept the promotion. Some information about her family is relevant before I explain the actual situation that occurred. For the most part, she has a very nice family who is overall normal and fine. There are no issues. However, her father is one of the rudest people I have ever met. He goes out of his way to be unpleasant, likes to make people uncomfortable, and it can be unbearable. My fiancé's brother and his wife have been together for about the same time as us. They are normal and nice people, and I will refer to them as brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Her father targets her sister-in-law relentlessly and bullies her nonstop, both in front of her and behind her back. I have heard him make fun of her weight and job and say terrible things about her. I have always felt bad about this and believed it to be unjustified. As a result, the sister-in-law does not like to visit very often or for long, understandably, and this upsets their father and mother since they feel they do not see their son often because of her. Her brother is a very nice guy and very talkative. He can say goodbye and then continue talking for an hour afterward, which means the sister-in-law has to be the one to say they are leaving and has to drag him away. Their father and mother discuss this behind their backs constantly, claiming that she makes excuses to leave so she does not have to be with them, and the father says much worse. My work decided to send me to the area for a week to see how I fit in the position. Everything is paid for by the company. My fiancé is very close with her family, so I offered to arrive a day early so we could see them quickly. However, this would risk the company not paying for that day of travel, a 10-hour drive, and I would lose out on some money for food and gas expenses, but I was okay with that. I clearly stated how this is a significant opportunity for our future, and I need her support. I knew it was going to be a busy week at work, and I would not have time to explore the area much during that time. So I suggested we could stay overnight at her parents' house on Saturday, but I wanted to leave as early as possible in the morning to look at houses and different neighborhoods and see as much as possible since we might be moving there. Her brother and sister-in-law lived nearby and wanted to see us, but they were on a trip and did not return until later on Sunday than I wanted to leave. My fiancé asked if it would be okay to stay a little longer so we could see them. I said sure and clearly communicated to her that I wanted to leave by 12 p.m. at the latest if they did end up coming, and as early as possible if they did not. It is now Sunday. We wake up and it turns out her brother and sister-in-law are not coming. The plan was to eat breakfast, shower, and leave. We had breakfast with her family, talked for a while, and then I expected my fiancé to announce that we were going to pack and head out. At one point, my fiancé initiated gossiping about her sister-in-law to her mother because she did not book a flight with everyone else for an upcoming trip, criticizing how ridiculous that was. I was not thrilled about her starting that conversation and do not understand why they do not realize the reason is the bullying. They continued talking and I was just watching the clock and looking at my fiancé. We had discussed that she needed to be the one to initiate leaving due to how her father talks. It was now 11:30 a.m., she had not showered, was still talking, and there were no signs of stopping, so I texted her that we needed to leave. We left shortly after 12 p.m., which was the latest time we were supposed to leave only if her brother and sister-in-law showed up, which they did not. We got in the car and I expressed my frustration, thinking we were supposed to leave earlier as I really wanted to explore the area we might be moving to and might not have another chance later in the week. She simply said, "Oh, sorry, I lost track of time talking to my family," and brushed it off as if it were not a big deal. I think it is a significant issue, especially given our discussions about listening to me. The reason this is problematic is due to a few factors. We went engagement ring shopping with the plan just to look. She fell in love with one that cost about 13,000, which was over my budget. I did have an upcoming bonus, but half would go to taxes and the other half was about 13,000, leaving me with nothing for myself after all the hard work I put in throughout the year to earn it. I suggested we shop around and that I was not trying to pay that much. She insisted it was the perfect one and expressed how much she loved it. I tried multiple times to persuade her to consider other options. In her defense, the salesperson was very good at convincing her, but it was my money and I stated I did not want to spend that much. She disregarded my concerns. We purchased the ring and this issue still comes up in arguments to this day. We went to Miami on vacation, during which we engaged in various activities that she enjoyed. We spent an entire day looking for seashells and other items she liked. I generally am content doing whatever, but I had one request to walk down a particular street in the Cuban neighborhood since I have always wanted to do that. We spent the whole day doing mostly things she liked, and I asked her if we could go after dinner. When the time came to walk down the street, she suddenly did not feel well and did not want to go. I was disappointed because I did not accomplish the one thing I wanted to do while on vacation, especially since I had made such an effort to ensure she had fun on our trips. I am concerned that if I accept this promotion and relocate closer to her parents, she will continue this behavior. I fear that I will eventually have to assert myself, and then everyone in her family will talk about me the way they do with her sister-in-law. I want to maintain a good relationship with my fiancée and her family, but I do not believe she respects me or cares enough about my wants or feelings. Am I overthinking these situations, and are they not as significant as I perceive them to be? In summary, I do not think my fiancé cares about what I want or think, and when I become upset, I tend to react poorly. However, I believe I have a valid reason to be upset. Story 2. My boyfriend claims I'm too focused on my mom's illness, while I pay his bills and write his CV. After 3 years of sacrificing for his future, he still prefers TikTok over a second job. Should I keep waiting or just cut my losses? Hello, everyone. I feel the need to express my thoughts and hear other people's opinions, as I have been feeling stuck and uncertain about how to move forward in my relationship. We have been together for 3 years. We met while working during university and initially seemed aligned in terms of work ethic and finances. After moving in together, I realized he only worked extra hours to spend time with me, not because he enjoyed his job. While I studied and worked, he hardly put in any effort toward his degree, did not earn any money, and was perpetually broke. During this time, my mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and I lacked the emotional capacity to analyze the situation objectively. His dental health was declining, and since he had no savings, I covered the costs of his dental work, which amounted to approximately $700. From that point on, the debt continued to accumulate, as he was always short on rent, bills, and groceries. He promised to pay me back whenever he was able, only to borrow money again shortly after. Currently, he owes me $3,000. After we both finished our degrees, he took a minimum wage job at his parents' shop 3 to 4 times a week, promising to remain there for a year. I encouraged him to seek better employment or take on a second job, but he declined, insisting that he needed to honor his commitment and could not work any more hours, despite his inability to cover all his expenses, which resulted in me having to contribute. When I had to move back home to care for my terminally ill mother, we were in a long-distance relationship for a few months. I continued to work remotely and pay bills. He visited only 2 to 3 times, claiming he could not afford train tickets, requiring my dad or me to assist with the costs. He did not take on extra work to be of more assistance. Even worse, during this time, he would argue with me over the phone, stating that I was too focused on discussing my mother and not giving him enough attention. I still harbor resentment towards him for that. He made an already devastating time even more difficult. I am unsure if there is a way to work through this. After my mother passed away, I lacked the emotional strength for another heartbreak, convincing myself that I needed to put more effort into our relationship. I believe in giving people chances and investing years to build something stable and meaningful. When I returned, he finally secured a full-time job, began saving, and repaid $1,000 of his rent debt. We agreed he would repay me $200 a month, but when Christmas came, he presented more excuses. We moved again, and once more I covered the entire deposit and all associated administrative costs. Then he was let go from his job. I made it clear that I would not lend him any more money. He needed to ask his father to cover the rent. I also had to push him to apply for jobs daily and do housework while he was unemployed. He resented this, claiming that I did not respect him because he lacked money. However, he spent less than an hour each day applying for jobs, refused to consider available physical labor positions, did no cleaning or cooking, expected our responsibilities to remain 50-50, and anticipated being able to sleep most of the day. I even helped him write his CV and assisted him in applying for jobs. He eventually found another job, but it still paid minimum wage and only offered 35 hours a week. When I casually suggested he take on a second job at some point to begin saving for a house and repaying his debts, he dismissed the idea, arguing that I was wasting my time working extra hours. I worked two jobs, full-time and part-time, because I would just end up paying more taxes. I asked if he believed that scrolling through TikTok, watching videos, or gaming was a more productive use of time, to which he responded that it is important to enjoy life. How does he expect to enjoy any life without money or ambitions to improve his circumstances? Is he content with renting for the rest of his life, staying home all year without the means for a holiday, only watching YouTube until he dies due to his refusal to do anything beyond the bare minimum? I live 3 hours away from my hometown because he wants to be close to his family, whom I also love, rather than for better opportunities. I suggested that we could move in with my dad to a larger city where he could live rent-free and save for a house as well as pay off his debts. He refused. I have been clear from the beginning, I want to purchase a house before I turn 27. He agreed and said he would help, but he often backtracks. I refuse to contribute a larger deposit than he does and essentially give him a house for free. He needs to save $13,000 within the next 2 to 3 years. If I were not with him, I would be living with my dad, helping with his mortgage and saving twice as much. In the past, he suggested that I cover the entire deposit, and he would pay me back through mortgage payments, but I do not trust him to be financially responsible, and it would only create further imbalance between us, so I declined. He also questions whether buying property in the UK is worth it but does not offer any alternatives or plans. It feels as if he is merely trying to go with the flow of life, no plans, goals, or objectives, just living in the moment. I feel as if I am wasting my life with someone who is not willing to work as hard as I am to achieve anything. If he does not want the same future, why not tell me so we can part ways and avoid wasting my time? I have sat him down multiple times to discuss this. He consistently assures me that he will work with me. I grew up in poverty, facing constant financial struggles, and I aspire to have a good life. I have been saving any money I could since I was 7 years old. I do not expect anyone to provide for me. I simply want an equal life partner with whom I can collaborate to build a comfortable and fulfilling life for both of us. The most disheartening part is that he does not appreciate my support, claiming I already had money, so it was not a significant sacrifice on my part. However, $3,000 is nearly a year's worth of my savings from my modest salary. I love him, he is kind, loving, and my only friend. After losing my mother, I do not know if I can endure another heartbreak so soon. My friends distanced themselves from me after she passed away, leaving only him and my dad as my support. I am unsure how to break up with someone I live with. I have always been the one to be broken up with. How do I retrieve all the furniture and appliances that I acquired when it is so far away? What about breaking the tenancy agreement? Will I end up losing another $1,000 on the deposit? I do not envision a future where I am not constantly sacrificing without anything in return. I secretly hope he will change with this new job, but I also do not want to waste another 2 years waiting for him to admit that saving $13,000 is unfeasible when I know it is possible. I am uncertain whether I should give him a final chance, 1 year, or simply cut my losses. I just wish love were enough. In summary, my boyfriend lacks ambition, owes me $3,000, and resists working toward our future. I am concerned that I am squandering the best years of my life. I love him, but I do not know if we have a happy future together. Story 3. My girlfriend confessed she's not ready for a serious relationship after saying she fell for me hard. Now she wants to keep things casual while I'm left wondering, am I just a rebound or the real deal? Am I making a mistake by staying? I am 43 years old male and my girlfriend is 34 years old female. We have been dating for 2 months and communicated for approximately a month prior to meeting in person. From the beginning, things have gone well, we really hit it off. We share a lot of interests, including music, films, and humor. Our personalities complement each other nicely. The sexual relationship is enjoyable for both of us. We both have children. I have a 12-year-old daughter living with me full-time, and she has a 2-year-old daughter living with her full-time, as well as a 15-year-old daughter who is with her on some weekends. We have approached introductions with caution, particularly concerning the children, as neither of us wants to introduce anyone into our lives unless we believe it has the potential to become serious. I anticipated that there would be some bumps in the road, as is common in all relationships, and she has some complicating factors in her life. She has only been officially divorced from her ex-husband for about 8 to 9 months, and he is the father of her 2-year-old, which necessitates ongoing communication for co-parenting. This does not pose an issue for me at all. They are finished. However, she has indicated that she has not completely moved on from that relationship. Given its length, I find that understandable. However, it is starting to impact our relationship. We are still in the initial stages and are in the process of growing together, I understand this. When things progress well and we engage in meaningful conversations, deep, honest discussions, reflecting our commitment to developing a strong bond, there are moments when she pulls back. About a month ago, we were supposed to meet up because we both had days off from work. Instead, she abruptly ended our plans for a day. After we resumed our conversation, she explained that she felt overwhelmed and suggested that we could slow things down a bit more. I agreed, saying, "Sure, whatever you need." I genuinely have strong feelings for her and do not want to push her away. I meant it. I consider myself quite sensitive and understanding. As I mentioned, we started talking again about a day later, and after a few days of simply being friendly, we had sex again. After that encounter, it was as if nothing out of the ordinary had occurred and things improved further. She began to confide in me about some issues she was previously apprehensive to discuss. I do not judge her, and I shared some of my own experiences that she did not judge, allowing us to bond and connect further. Everything was great. She recently told me that she has developed strong feelings for me. This is wonderful, as I feel the same way. We began to spend a bit more time together, and we both expressed that we felt things were going well and that our relationship was something special worth investing in. Then yesterday, we were scheduled to have dinner at her house with the children. This would have been the first time they met, but not the 15-year-old, as she was not going to be present. Regardless, it was set to be a fun occasion. In the morning, she texted me saying that both she and her youngest daughter were not feeling well and needed to reschedule. I understood. However, she did not communicate anything further throughout the day and did not respond to my texts, which was unusual. Eventually, later on, she conveyed that she was feeling emotionally unwell and was experiencing some depression, promising to reach out when she was able. What does that imply? She later mentioned that she thinks she needs space but still wants to engage sexually. However, she is unsure and said that it might be difficult for us to have sex without emotions involved from this point forward. Then she revealed that she had considered being intimate with me right then, but lamented it was too late. I offered that it was alright since neither of us was sleeping and I could come over as her housemate was with the child. She initially agreed because she wanted to, but then she changed her mind. Still, she expressed a desire to meet after I finished working to talk and be intimate. However, she conveyed that she does not feel ready for a serious relationship at this moment. She reiterated everything she had previously said about falling for me, envisioning a future together, and the relationship feeling unique and special, but stated that she should not have said it in the first place. She expressed that she feels as though she led me on and that her greatest mistake was being too honest. I reassured her that honesty is never a mistake and conveyed my willingness to put in the effort necessary for whatever she is ready for. She wants to focus on sex without much communication outside of that, and then see where things lead and if her feelings change. I am quite emotionally invested, but I also empathize with her situation. I simply do not want to walk away from this relationship without feeling that we made an effort when there is so much potential and thus far very little downside or disagreement. Am I making a mistake by pursuing this? Am I just setting myself up to be hurt again by another woman because I am allowing my feelings to cloud my judgment? What does needing space signify? Am I just going to be one of many partners she is seeing? Is she merely keeping me around as a backup or until something better comes along? I believe what she has communicated to me. I believe that what we have is worth pursuing, and I am willing to sacrifice for that goal if that is what she requires. I just do not want to feel foolish or experience significant hurt again. Should I simply walk away? Should I have further discussions with her about this? Should we meet to talk and be intimate? Or is that not advisable? I am somewhat lost in this situation. It may seem trivial, but as I mentioned, I am a sensitive person after 7 years in recovery. In summary, I am in a new relationship. My girlfriend is uncertain about what she wants, whether she is ready for something serious, if she prefers a casual sexual relationship, or if we should end things now. I am unsure about what course of action to take. I do not wish for it to end, as I see potential for a good relationship. However, I do not know if I should walk away at this time or try a different approach to keep things moving forward in some way.